lawyer was wrong, well, we filed these ineffective counsels. We can show where the prosecutor was wrong, where we show prosecution misconduct. But at the end of the day, nobody's being held accountable because the courts are not even making them be held accountable. So when I sit in that courtroom, I'm going against the jury because they're looking at me as a young, or at that time, a young black male or a black male, gang affiliate, you know what I'm saying, a drug dealer, however they want to define me. I'm going against the judge. He doesn't care. He's getting paid. Either way it goes. I'm going against a lawyer, paid attorney. He doesn't care. He's getting paid either way it goes. Prosecutor, he doesn't care. He's just making headlines.
So they basically trying to make their career off of you.
Basically, that's what happened. It's not basically good because right now, Mr. Ron Safer, that was the head of the federal prosecutor's division at that time, he got his own private law firm right now. You probably see him on TV here and there when they want to talk about different things that goes on. But do you want to talk about the prosecution misconduct? Do you want to talk about these bogus detectives that you had working underneath you that for years I've been trying to figure out, find out more information about their background and what they have done? I had a couple of information on a few officers that had checkered background. Well, one of them, Mr. Louis Caesar, he was known for falsifying documents, coercing witnesses, placing gun in witnesses' mouth. There was OPS report on that, where when you try to file freedom of information on that, you have all type of roadblocks because they don't want to give you that information.
Wow. So they put it.
There's so much out there. Again, and if people don't believe what I'm saying, you have the right as a citizen of Illinois. You can file a freedom of information to get any information you want pertaining my case or any other case that you want, to find out things about. But at the end of the day, again, brother, I keep saying this, I'm sitting in prison for something I had nothing to do with. And if anyone have any resources that can help me, any information that can help me, please reach out to me.
Definitely.
Because the help is needed. But right now, what I need more than anything, I need those signatures. I need people to go to my blog and sign my petition. And there's no sign it just to sign it. You can go in there, you can read my life story. You can go in there and look at trial transcripts. You can look at appellate briefs. You can look at the information that I'm bagging up my claims and showing my innocence, where these young men and women have gave testimony to detectives about what took place in this case. So it's not me just saying that this young girl said she saw this crime take place and they charged this guy and had him in custody for a year. Here is actual police reports that's bagging it all up. Why wasn't this evidence brought out? Because if the jury even heard any of this testimony, I would have never been found guilty. But what they heard was a whole different lie that basically my lawyer went along with. And at the end of the day, I'm sitting in prison with a life sentence.
Wow. At the end of the day, man, your story is very heart-touching, and I think a lot of people can identify with this situation because so many of our black brothers and sisters are incarcerated for things that they haven't done. Have you came across a lot of individuals like yourself who are not guilty of things and just have been caught in scenarios because they are associated with individuals?
Oh yeah, it's a bunch of people. I had ran into a older gentleman that I don't too much want to speak on his case or whatever, but a guy named Jackie Wilson. You know what I'm saying? I think he was held accountable for whatever actions probably his sibling, his brother, or somebody probably committed. He's out right now. There's countless of brothers, you know what I'm saying, that I have ran across in my years in these penitentiaries, you know what I'm saying, that have went home for crimes they did not commit. But at the end of the day, the jury painted a picture, the prosecutor painted the picture, and the lawyers went along with it, didn't give him the proper defense, and the brother sat in prison for 20 and 30 years. The so-called alleged, here it is. Let's say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, that whatever scenario they say that took place in this case, the so-called alleged shooter is free. Everybody that so-called they said that had some kind of participation in this case is free, but you give me a life sentence. First of all, I had nothing to do with it, but still, okay, where's the fairness in the law? There's no fairness there. You're holding me so-called accountable for alleged crime I had nothing to do with. You're holding me accountable for somebody else's actions. You give me a life sentence? I'm supposed to have been charged with this case in federal court, but here's another scenario. Here's what took place with that. they wanted to put Daryl Pops Johnson on death row so bad, they didn't charge me in federal court because it would open the doors up for him because the case against me was so bogus and so weak. So what they did was they said, here, we're going to give the state, because the state was working with the federal prosecutors because it was a joint task force, we're going to give y'all the case to prosecute. Here, y'all take Richie and prosecute that case. And so all the things that the prosecutor said during trial, how, they set up here and told the jury, in so many ways, if you don't find me guilty, that me and the Gangster Disciple will replace the American flag with the Gangster Disciple flag. That day there was the Martin Luther King's birthday, that we would replace Martin Luther King's birthday with our own birthday. So it was so much that they fed the jury to hear. Once they hear anything about gangs or organizations or however they wanted to find it, you're automatically guilty.
That's real. So
you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt.
That's right. That's not right at the end of the day, because it's a brother's right to band together. You can band together, at the end of the day. Yeah, you definitely can. That's our right. With that being said, how do you feel about all the individuals who are your co-defendants who have been released, things of that nature? Does that give you hope since you have seen your co-defendants being released?
Oh, yeah, it really do, and it feels good. It feels good because when I talk to certain one of them, what I'm saying, they tell me how their day is going, how they going to work, how they're enjoying their time with their grandkids and their family members, and they have that second chance. And it feels great to know that that's what's going on with them. How they have jobs and stuff. Man, I can't even explain the feeling that I get to knowing the growth. Because if you look at it, I was 20 years old. Some of them was 30 years old when they was incarcerated. Now you're looking at men that's 50-something years old or whatever. They have grew. They understand. So you're going to give them life plus 60 plus 30 for a trumped up so-called drug conspiracy that you never brought not 1 kilo of cocaine to court to say this is the drugs we caught them with. You painted a picture of all this money, $100 million a year. You painted this lavish picture, what I'm saying? This is how these guys was living. This is what was going on with them. But again, did not produce anything. You didn't produce anything. And for the grace of the Creator that these brothers are beginning to get their life back, look what you took away from them. And it was political.
That's real.
Political. They didn't give a care about what was going on in the streets. When we began to march, when we began to sign people up for to vote, that became a problem. Because now, as we can see today, a few thousand votes can sway, the whole Democrats to a Republican.
That's
right.
right.
If you have any type of, political, political force out there, then like many of them do. Like right now today, that's all that's going on. It's politics. And it so happens that gangs is the brunt of the politics. What are you doing out there to really to solve this problem? What are you doing for our community? You can get on the cameras every day and say, yeah, they're doing this, but those babies killing babies out there. There's no 50, 60-year-old men out there that's killing babies. Now we have 50, 60-year-old men acting like they're children. They're not taking the responsibility and helping out. But at the end of the day, those are kids killing kids. We have a mental health crisis that's going on in our community, that's going on in the prisons right now today. They're living in two realities that I see out there. It's reality and it's virtual reality. And once they come in the penitentiary, reality sets in. The virtual reality, the partying, the drinking, and then once you get here, and you've been gone for so many years, and these people, and I tell these young men around here today, they got 40 years at 100%, 50 years at 100%, with a crime probably 25 years for the murder, but they gave them 25 years for gun enhancement. And I asked them, what's the difference between your 40 and 50 years and my natural life? It's no different because we all on the timer. We all sitting in this bed, and the possibility we might not wake up the next day.
That's real. Now, a question. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thoughts out.
But all of us have a the governor or whomever. You know, all of us have a part to play. I have a part, even where I'm at. I have a part that every young man that I come across that's in here that's on his way home, I try to give him something positive. I try to let him know that this place will never shut down. It will always be here. That you need to try to do something
1 minute left
with your life.
That's real.
You know, and then even out there, you know, and this probably be another story for another time, but even out there, you know, what are we doing to show the young kids? We have to start at 4 and 5 years old. The kids are smarter than what we think they are.
Indeed.
What happened to our, you know, the basketball tournaments we used to have, the football, you know, going out of town, going to the jails? What happened to all of that?
That's real. With the short time with the short time we have, can you go ahead and just let these people know before the phone cut off, what is the what would your second life be like if you was to be free? What would you do with your life, you know, when you had your second chance, when you free?
Well, the most important thing to me is my family. If I had a second chance, you know, I would love to be able to make up to my children, to my mom, to my
Thank
dad.
you for using Securus. Goodbye.
Well, everybody.